What's going on, guys? It's Troydan here, and today we've got Every MLB Fanbase Explained in 21 minutes. I've been watching a lot of baseball this year because the Blue Jays have been doing good. It's hard to watch when they lose, but there's still a lot of teams I don't know a lot about. Hopefully, we can get some of that explained today. We're going to beat you tomorrow, Seattle. I just want to say that. 3, 2, 1, go. Sorry.
The Arizona Diamondbacks. D-backs fans are, technically real. They exist. You just rarely meet one because a lot of people move to Arizona from elsewhere.
That's
Their
true.
whole
I've never
identity
met
is
one.
tied to 2001, and honestly, that's fair enough. If you beat peak Jeter-era Yankees with a 38-year-old Randy Johnson,
I remember him, he
pitching
killed
on
a
no
bird.
rest, and walk it off against prime Mariano, you deserve to ride that forever. A lot of the time, the stadium feels like an airport Chili's with a baseball field attached to it, but every 5 or 10 years, the team randomly pops off. They have some little brother energy to them, like they want to be taken seriously, but also jump in a pool whenever they accomplish anything. Nobody dislikes them. You just kind of forget they're in the league, and then all of a sudden they're in the NLCS.
Yo!
Also, Braden Webb's career breaks their hearts.
Damn!
The Athletics. A's fans are obviously the most disrespected, emotionally battered group in baseball. I'm not even totally sure who is and isn't a fan at this very moment. A lot of old fans will disown them, and lots of new ones will adopt them in the coming years. They've watched their team get gutted repeatedly. Every time a player gets good, they have to say goodbye to them.
So I get 3 pauses. I'm just going to use one right now. There's a player on this team that's actually really good, but unfortunately, because of the way his parents named him, I cannot tell you who it is. But just know there was someone really good on that team.
Say goodbye to the whole team. They're very proud of the Moneyball days, but that was a long time ago. And before they moved, they went full-on rebellion mode, banners, chants, boycotts, reverse boycotts.
Fuck Fisher,
They
man.
wish John Fisher was banned from the sport.
Yo, you
the
suck!
Coliseum fell apart. Raccoons lived in press boxes, and half of the stadium was tarped off. And yet, when the A's had a shot, they were there. The true fans still rep Ricky Henderson, still believe in green and gold, and still hold on to whatever's left of the franchise. When the A's left, something inside the fans broke. The Atlanta Braves. Braves fans live by 2 simple commandments. F the Mets and f the Phillies.
Oh.
Those are the only laws you need to follow. The fan base has 2 sides. The old heads still polishing those 90s NL East banners like they're heirlooms, and the new wave that is just obsessed with Ronald Acuna Jr. But they do have receipts. 14 straight division titles at one point, 2 World Series in the last 30 years, about 10 World Series losses, and a roster full of guys who can contend for the MVP or the Cy Young. They treat Alex Anthopoulos like he's a wizard, and they're not really wrong, arguably the best GM in baseball. And Truist Park is like SEC tailgate energy kind of with a baseball game. And the tomahawk chop might be controversial, but in Atlanta, it's not leaving. They love Matt Olson, but Freddie Freeman will always be their true love at first base. And if they lose, it was 100% Brian Snitker's fault.
Look at this bald guy.
The Baltimore Orioles. The stadium is beautiful, the city has heart, but the team, year after year of sadness, wishing they were as good as they were 50 years ago. That was up until recently. Now Orioles fans are back, loud, cocky, and to some, borderline unbearable. I'm not saying that's how I feel, I'm just saying that's how some people feel. They watched their team lose 110 games, got inseparably bonded to Adley and Gunnar, and now they think they're inevitably going to win the World Series. They've still got that gritty underdog energy, but it's layered under a we're the future of baseball type of attitude. They hate the Yankees, they really hate the Angelos, and they act like Camden Yards is holy ground, which it kind of is. They wish they still had Corbin Burns, and they don't like to talk about Chris Davis. You can clown ownership, but don't talk down on the fan base. They stuck it out through hell, and now they want you to know that they've arrived.
Okay. That's
The
not
Boston
bad.
Red Sox.
Oh.
Old heads still walk around with 1986 PTSD, even though they've won 4 titles this century. They hate the Yankees so much, it's basically their whole personality. If you bring up 1978 or Aaron Boone, immediate rage blackout. They're emotional, loyal, and absolutely unhinged. It's Boston sports. They'll trash their own players for months and then cry when they leave. They're also a bit prone to overreaction. If they win a series in April, it's time for a parade. And Fenway Park is their church. They'll defend that place with their lives.
I almost
even though
went
the
there.
seats were
Came
built
so
for people
close.
From the Renaissance era.
I'm using a
You
pause.
say
I actually slept outside of Fenway Park. I actually did. True, so I didn't go inside, but I slept outside.
anything bad about David Ortiz,
Yo,
you might
the
get punched.
Yankees lose.
Say something bad about Mookie Betts, and,
Yankees lose.
well, they still haven't gotten over that. The Chicago Cubs. Cubs fans
bet on
used
them
to
to
be
win tonight.
lovable losers. Now some people might not consider them either one of those things. 2016 was the most important year in human history in their eyes. For over a century, their whole identity was trauma. Now it's nostalgia for a team that actually won something. They still pack Wrigley every day like it's a religious ritual. Half the crowd is drunk by the 3rd inning. Even when the team's mid, they vibe. day games, Ivy, old-style beer, and stories about Ernie Banks like he was their uncle.
Ernie
They're
Banks.
sentimental to a fault. You also can't say anything bad about Chris Bryant or Anthony Rizzo without a 10-minute lecture. And they used to want to kill Steve Bartman, but now he's forgiven. And when you bring up the White Sox, they'll just laugh like you said something silly. But the Cardinals do own real estate in their head. It's been nearly a decade since their World Series win, so they're starting to get antsy. The Chicago White Sox.
Oh, this team
The
sucks.
drunkest fan base in baseball. Can you blame them? They've got this constant chip on their shoulder. Sick of being the second team in their own city, sick of bad ownership, and sick of hearing about what's happening on the north side. They'll tell you they're tougher, grittier, and way more real than Cubs fans. And there's some truth to that.
Ooh.
This is a fan base raised on Ozzie Guillen quotes and '05 glory. Now stuck watching a team coming off the worst season of all time.
But Frank
They
Thomas.
hate Jerry Reinsdorf with a passion. By the way, you're going to start to notice. Basically, outside of the Dodgers, Mets, and Yankees, every fan base thinks they have it the worst, and they hate their owner. But as for the White Sox, when things do click, the South Side is a ruckus crowd. They will fight you in the
Woo!
parking lot just to pay tribute to Tim Anderson, and then complain about how they're sick of Luis Robert. The Cincinnati
Frank
Reds,
Thomas on that
the
team?
Big Red Machine. That's another name for the hell that Reds fans reside in. They're one of the oldest franchises in the game. They lay claim to Pete Rose, Johnny Bench, Barry Larkin. But it's like the MLB forgot they exist sometime around the early 2000s.
Damn.
Most of their best memories from this century are Joey Votto carrying a fourth-place team on his back. They'll show up for cheap tickets and chili, even when the team is actively trying to lose. But now Cincinnati's a little bit exciting. Ellie De La Cruz is the most electric thing they've seen in decades. They also hate the Cardinals, along with everyone else in the NL Central, don't really acknowledge the Pirates, and have very strong opinions about baseball being better on the radio. They're baseball purists at heart, but desperate for a new
On the
chapter.
radio?
If the Reds get good again, the fan base is going to go absolutely feral, and for good reason. The Cleveland Guardians. Their last 3 decades are riddled with playoff appearances and some legit runs. They don't get the national love, they don't get the payroll, and they definitely don't get over 2016. That Game 7 still haunts them. They were this close to ending a drought that's
Chapman was on
older
the
than most of
Cubs?
their grandparents. And then Rajai Davis hit a miracle homer just to lose anyway. They've had some filthy players in their history. Albert Bell, Jim Thome, Kenny Lofton, even Manny Ramirez as a youngster. But these days, their success is built upon somehow turning high-floor, low-upside pitchers into aces and turning little Jose Ramirez into an MVP-caliber slugger. The front office also holds this cool annual tradition where they trade away their best player before they have to pay them. But through all the cheapness, missed opportunities, and broken dreams, they keep coming back because the Browns don't give them the happiness they need. The Colorado Rockies.
Oh, they suck.
Rockies fans are in a toxic relationship with a team that doesn't even pretend to try. They've got one of the most beautiful stadiums in sports and a front office that treats it like a ski lodge with a gift shop. They let Nolan Arenado leave for basically nothing. They watched Trevor Story walk, and they didn't even really get that mad. They know the team won't spend money and can't develop pitching, but they'll still show up, drink a few cold ones, and vibe out to sunset over the mountains. Coors Field is a party, even if the baseball is meaningless. Diehard fans will talk your ear off about how Todd Helton is underrated, Larry Walker deserved the Hall of Fame, and dream about Prime Cargo and Tulo. The best team to like if you don't actually care about baseball.
Damn.
The Detroit Tigers.
Damn.
Tigers fans were exhausted.
Yo,
until
oh,
the
sorry.
second
F
half
in the
of-
chat last night, Tigers. I saw it. Okay, I saw you guys go to the 15th inning. If you know any Tigers fans, console them. They're probably not feeling so good.
2024. They had a really nice 2000s and early 2010s with some World Series appearances. This is a proud fan base with real baseball tradition. All the Ty Cobb fans died a long time ago, but the new ones grew up on Verlander and
Ty
Miguel
Cobb.
Cabrera. But then came a rebuild that lasted nearly a decade, and they didn't have much to show for it. But they're coming off a playoff appearance, and even though the jury's still out on Spencer Torkelson, at least Tarek Skubal is the best pitcher
this
in
is
baseball.
obviously
They
recorded
still have love
before
for Comerica Park and will show up
the
in April
playoffs.
cold as hell. They feel weirdly superior to the Royals, and if the Tigers are even decent, the city shows out. They're just hoping for some sustained success once again. The Houston Astros.
Boo!
They know everybody hates them. They've heard every trash can joke in the
Boo!
book, and they'll never be able to live that down. But they also don't really care. It feels like they're in the ALCS every year, and the whole
Not
cheating
this
scandal
year.
just put a chip on their shoulders. They went from a 100-loss rebuild to a dynasty, and they're not
tin
going to let you
cans.
forget it. They worship Biggio, Bagwell, and Altuve. They might even argue that Jordan's every bit as good as Aaron Judge. They will not apologize for anything. They might just ask why your team didn't cheat better.
Yeah,
Minute
there's
Maid
the
Park,
tin can they
I'm always
used.
calling it Minute Maid. Gets loud when Jordan parks one into the right field stands and they have that little choo-choo train going. The
What
Kansas
the-
City Royals.
Fly
Royals
high,
fans
Bobby.
are mostly people who are from the area. Those 2014 and 15 runs were magical. The city went nuts, small ball, insane defense, and an unhittable bullpen trio. But now it's back to reality. Unless the Lord and Savior Bobby Witt Jr. They love the Royals, but they're always somewhere between bad and mediocre. So once August rolls around, people are more excited about the Chiefs. They hate the Cardinals more than they even love the Royals. And yeah, they'll tell you George Brett is the GOAT. Regardless, Kauffman Stadium still draws a crowd for fireworks and fountains. The Los Angeles Angels. Angels fans live in a constant state of baseball-related existential crisis. They had two all-time talents, Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. And somehow never won a single playoff game with either one of them. In the 2000s, they had Vlad Sr. and gave up the most ridiculous Barry Bonds home run ever. They've watched the team throw money at washed-up stars and let pitching in the farm system rot. They envy the Dodgers and try not to talk about it. And the fan base is weird because a lot of them hate each other. The miserable ones despise the ones who are still able to enjoy life. But one thing they all can agree on is that Artie Moreno is the worst. The Los Angeles Dodgers. One of the only fan bases that will be like, yeah, you know what? Things are pretty good right now. Dodgers fans show up late, leave early to beat the traffic, and still expect 100 wins. They're a mix of diehards, celebrities, and people who came for the vibes or just to make an Instagram post. The fan base is in heaven. They love the front office, they've got a stacked team every year, unlimited budget, and are just overall used to getting whatever they want. They have too many legends to name, but the most beloved person in their franchise history might just be legendary broadcaster Vin Scully. Chavez Ravine is both a baseball cathedral and an influencer photo shoot backdrop. The fans expect greatness, demand it, and if they don't get it, that's okay because they'll probably just sign the most expensive free agent that offseason anyway.
That's baseball.
The Miami Marlins. Marlins fans are the rarest species in sports.
Oh,
they have 2 World Series titles and like 17 fans. But the real fans they do have are true diehards. They have an insanely bizarre amount of awesome players in their history who just weren't on the team for long, like Miguel Cabrera, Gary Sheffield, Kevin Brown. I could literally name like 20 more. They watched Yelich, Real Muto, Stanton, and Ozuna all thrive somewhere else. Now Jazz Chisholm and soon probably Sandy Alcantara. The best player in franchise history passed away in a boat accident. The stadium has less soul than any other park in baseball. They've never won a division title, and they're in a never-ending rebuild.
So I want to use another pause. The Miami, I remember back in the day, I don't know when it was, maybe it was the 90s or early zeros, they had the goldfish or something. Anyone remember that? Unless it was a dream I made up or something. They used to have fish in like the stadium. It was cool. It was really late.
The Milwaukee Brewers. Some of the most loyal fans in the league, even though the team perennially sits in the almost good enough category. They'll tailgate a Tuesday game like it's the Super Bowl and then go inside and scream for a team that's always a player or two short. They love Christian Yelich even if his MVP season feels like a fever dream now, and they act like Craig Counsell never existed. They hate the Cubs, but it's a Midwest kind of hate. They've seen just enough heartbreak to stay humble and just enough promise to keep showing up. American Family Field, or Miller Park, is sacred ground for beer, sausage races, and playoff disappointment.
Who are those dicks?
The Minnesota Twins. This century, the Twins have rarely been terrible, but never dominant either. They've won plenty of division titles, but always lose to the Astros or Yankees in the postseason. From 2004 to 2023, they lost 18 straight playoff games. They love their homegrown guys. Mauer, Morneau, Buxton, and the grandpas love Kirby Puckett. Target Field is gorgeous, and it reignited the fan base when it opened. Twins fans are smart. They'll let you know when they're frustrated, but they're not toxic about it. They do hate the Yankees with a quiet rage, though. Twins fans would love a World Series, but even a playoff series win will do. The New York Mets. Mets fans live for pain, but now they have perhaps one of the best owners in all of sports. They have some of the most ridiculous collapses in baseball history, and they'll talk about it like they're war stories. Their most famous fan is Jerry Seinfeld.
Yo, Jerry Seinfeld dated a 14-year-old. Anyone hear about that? He was 39 or something. 39?
David Wright deserved better, and they act like 1986 happened last week. Citi Field is electric when they're rolling, though. They hate the Phillies, despise the Braves, and insist they're now the top baseball franchise in New York. They'll complain nonstop, but if you talk trash about the Mets, it's go time. They're loud and eternally cursed, but they wear it like a badge of honor. The New York Yankees.
All right.
They will bring up 27 rings in a conversation about anything. They're the most hated fan base in baseball.
Yep.
They worship Ruth, Gehrig, Mantle, and now Judge, in that exact order. And don't you dare suggest Derek Jeter wasn't actually that good. Every season is World Series or bust, and most of them lately end in bust. But that doesn't stop their ego. They'll boo their own players in April. They'll demand a superstar be traded in May. But come October, they're locked in. They hate the Red Sox, pat the Mets on the head, even though they won't admit they're pissed about Juan Soto, and they genuinely think baseball should revolve around them. The second a player puts on pinstripes, he either becomes a legend or a scapegoat. Say what you want. They're delusional and dramatic, but they show up. No fan base expects more, and no fan base reminds you of it more either. The Philadelphia Phillies.
Oh, I thought the Jays were next.
Phillies fans will boo your mom and your dog if you strike out with runners on base. They demand effort, passion, and ideally a little blood. They still reminisce about 2008 with Rollins, Howard, and Utley, but Mike Schmidt is God. Citizens Bank Park is hostile, and when the vibes are right, it's one of the best environments in sports. Right now, they're nervous because Harper, Schwarber, and Wheeler aren't getting any younger.
Harper's Canadian,
and the window's
right?
Closing without a World Series win yet. But for all the yelling and panic, they still love their team with everything they've got. The Pittsburgh Pirates.
What?
PNC Park is unreal. Most people consider it the best setting in Major League Baseball. And the history is rich, but the product on the field is usually depressing. They've been living at the bottom of the NL Central for a while now, and despite having a couple young stars, ownership is not willing to spend.
They look so nice there.
They're proud of the idea of Pirates baseball. Clemente, Stargell, Bonds, McCutchen, even if the modern version feels like a low-budget reboot.
Barry
they
Bonds
root for
was
the
on this
Pirates
team?
with a deeply ingrained cynicism. The San Diego Padres.
Oh, how many teams are there?
Tony Gwynn in 1998 made fans fall in love with the team. But for decades, they were baseball's forgotten little brother. Then suddenly, Tatis, Soto, Machado, playoff wins, repeated all-out attempts to win. They feel like they're always a big player now. The fan base has gone from more casual to more diehard, especially since the Chargers are gone. The Padres are San Diego's baby now. But like many other fan bases, they think they have some of the worst ownership in sports. Playing the Dodgers is their World Series. Petco Park is a beautiful setting with perfect weather, a baseball stadium that feels like you're on the beach. Padres fans are very loyal and a little emotionally damaged, but when things are good, they're electric. When things are bad, at least the weather's still perfect.
Tatis.
The San Francisco Giants.
Oh, I've been here.
Like every other NL West
stadium.
fan base, they are obsessed with just beating the Dodgers. Giants fans have lived 3 full baseball lives in the last 15 years. They were tortured for decades, then suddenly became a dynasty out of nowhere. 2010, 2012, 2014, it was insane. Madison Bumgarner is Jesus Christ. Buster Posey is God. But they can also say they got to watch the greatest baseball player to ever live in his prime.
Yeah.
They cherish every great player in their franchise history.
Put him in the Hall of Fame.
Or present. Oracle Park goes toe-to-toe with PNC Park for the best setting in baseball.
Facts.
And personally, Oracle Park would get my vote. The Giants are one of baseball's most storied franchises, but they're often around 500 and in the middle of the pack in the NL West. The Seattle Mariners.
Oh.
Mariners fans are fueled almost entirely
Hold on.
by
I need to focus on this one because we're taking these guys on here. So
in the NL West.
I need to get my intel.
The Seattle Mariners. Mariners fans are fueled almost entirely by pain. The franchise has more ruptured testicles than World Series appearances. They're the only franchise to never make the World Series despite having the major league record with 116 wins in a season.
Oh.
They recently ended a 22-year playoff drought just to get swept in the ALDS. They've seen some of the best players of all time come and go in their prime. Randy Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr., Alex Rodriguez, Jared Kelenic. At least they got all of Ichiro's good years. They despise ownership because ownership wants the Mariners to be good, but not so good that they actually have to spend. Just good enough to tease fans into thinking they have a chance. And with an all-time rotation on the cheap right now, they're executing that perfectly. Fans are split on Jerry Dipoto. T-Mobile Park is a sleeper pick for the best atmosphere when it's rocking. The fans have been through so much, they treat meaningful September baseball like a holiday. The St. Louis Cardinals.
Okay.
Cardinals fans have heard it all. Some say they're the best fans in baseball. Some say too classy, too smug. But say what you want, they show up every night, every year.
I heard that there's like a huge issue with no one showing up. It was like one of the worst attendances for baseball this year.
Busch Stadium, even when the team's struggling. They cheer hustle plays that don't affect the score. And yes, they once gave Albert Pujols a curtain call for homering against them. Who else does that? This is not a bandwagon fan base.
I didn't know
They've
that.
got 11 rings, the second most in baseball. Their history is a scroll of legends. Stan Musial,
Really?
Bob Gibson, Lou Brock, Ozzie Smith, Albert Pujols. They expect professionalism. They expect effort, and most years they expect to be in the postseason. Since 2000, the Cardinals have been as relevant as nearly any franchise in baseball.
Mark McGwire.
Although right now they're one of the most poorly run franchises in baseball. But the uniforms are timeless. And maybe the fans do care a little too much about doing things the right way. But if you want a fan base that actually shows up, knows the game, and treats it with respect, it's hard to top St. Louis. The Tampa Bay Rays.
Okay, one more to Jays.
They're one of the best run teams in baseball with one of the worst stadiums on earth. Tropicana Field feels like baseball in a vacuum-sealed warehouse.
This place is
and
gone
now they're not
now.
even playing there because it doesn't have a roof. Their front office pulls off witchcraft every season, turning unknown pitchers into all-stars and winning 90-plus games with a low payroll. But the fan base is complicated. There are real fans, and they're smart as hell. They just don't show up in huge numbers for a number of different reasons. They're in a constant battle with their owner about whether they'll get a new stadium or be in St. Petersburg long term. They love nothing more than punking the Red Sox and the Yankees with a bunch of dudes you've never heard of. Rays fans are underappreciated. The Texas
What? Where are the... Dude, sorry. Okay, Toronto's next, right?
Rangers.
Gotta be.
Rangers fans have been through it. They came so close
Dead
to a
last.
World Series in 2011 with Josh Hamilton, and the trauma from David Freese lives deep
I used to
in their
hate the
bones.
Rangers.
But they finally got the ring in 2023, and it felt like decades of pain got flushed out in one shot. Adolis Garcia loves to pimp home runs, Seager is a machine, Bochy is basically Gandalf for baseball. Globe Life Field felt soulless at first, but once the wins came, it turned into a party. Though they will always play second fiddle to the Cowboys in
What
Dallas.
the hell?
Rangers fans have been loyal through a lot of lean years, and now they're being rewarded with a pretty good team. The Toronto Blue
Okay,
Jays.
here we go. Finally, the Toronto Blue Jays World Series this year. This is my team. What do we got? What do we got in here? What are we doing?
Blue Jays fans are Canada's baseball army. They roll deep, regular season, playoffs. There's always someone waving a flag and reminding you, we the North. They worship the 92-93 teams like holy relics, and Jose Bautista's bat flip was the best moment of their lives.
It was pretty cool.
The new generation fully bought in. Vlad Jr.'s their prince, Bo is their boy, and when they're winning, Rogers Center turns into a dome of chaos. But they do get anxious. The team has found a way to blow some epic leads. They're still waiting for this core to really break through, but it might be broken up before that even happens.
Oh, no, it won't.
The Washington Nationals.
What? Why don't you talk more about us? We're to win a World Series. See, this is the thing. Some of these American fans don't realize how good of a team we have, and now we're about to be in the World Series. And now we're about to beat possibly the Dodgers or the Cubs.
They used to be the Expos, although I don't believe anyone from Montreal actually still cares about the Nationals, but Nationals fans are still high on one of the
I
most
didn't know
poetic
that.
runs in baseball
Did I?
history. With Bryce Harper out the door, 2019 was supposed to be a retooling year. Then they got hot, won 5 elimination games, and stole the title from an insane Astros team. It was magic, but then, poof. Scherzer gone, Strasburg fell apart and retired, Soto got traded. Now they're in a rebuild again, but it's looking promising. They've always had a weird DC energy, part political, part picnic. It's not the most extreme baseball town.
They have a
They're
hack
mostly
for
over
home runs?
Bryce Harper. Nationals Park still gets a decent crowd, but it feels more like a gathering than a battleground. The fan base is patient, optimistic, and hoping lightning can strike again soon.
Was
And
that?
if you enjoyed this video,
Okay. All right. Obviously, like I said, this video, I think it was about 5 months ago, so it was before the playoffs, and realizing how good the Toronto Blue Jays are. This is going to be great. I don't know if we're going to be taking on the Cubs or... I mean, assuming they're going to beat the Brewers tonight. I don't know if it's going to be the Cubs or the Dodgers. It doesn't matter, though. The Jays have the home court advantage against both teams. The Jays are the best home team. Well, I'm not saying put everything down on the Jays, but I'm just saying it might pay off. It is a great year, and I can't wait for Sunday because I'm going to be very excited when the Toronto Blue Jays defeat the Seattle Mariners. I'm very excited for this. I'm very happy. This is the best year of baseball for me. Of all time, of my whole life. Guys, if you got a video you'd like for me to watch or react to, you can post it in my Discord. Thank you for watching, and kids, bet on the Blue Jays. Or actually, don't bet. If you have marbles, if you have Smarties, put